All right, we are live for the JB Graphics download episode number 20. This is the 2023 District 9 basketball playoffs preview show. I think this is my right. To my right on the screen is Andy. Below me is Chris, and I got the D9 between the lines below me. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
How much?
Real man.
So, Andy, me and Chris were at the KSAC games, but I guess we can kind of start off and talk a little bit about the AML championships that you were at last night.
Yeah, holy cow. I mean, neither game got out of the 30s, but man, were they a lot of fun. I guess we have to start with the boys' game where there was some controversy, if you will. Start at the end of regulation where Ridgeway had the ball with about 2.5 minutes left, decided to hold for the last shot. It was Aaron Sorg that took the last shot with like 2 seconds left, went off the back of the rim, no good. So the game goes to overtime, and Elk actually wins the tip. They take a shot within the first 20 seconds. No good. Ridgeway gets the board. Ridgeway holds the ball for over 3 minutes, and Jack Benninger gets a jump shot. It's no good. Elk calls timeout with 3.7 seconds left. And Will Wortman goes the length of the court in his layup, beats the buzzer, didn't beat the buzzer, what have you. It counted on the court. Elk won the game. But bottom line, it was a classic Elk County Catholic Ridgeway game, low-scoring, defensive. In fact, I told a couple people before the game, first team to 30 wins, and that actually turned out to be true. And I think it was kind of exactly the kind of game that you would expect between those two teams. End of the game aside, low scoring, defensive, intense. And then the girls' game. This is a rarity. Elk beat St. Mary's for the 4th time this season, and you just don't. Rarely do teams even play each other 4 times.
Oh, you see that all the time up there, Andy. Let's not lie.
Well, yeah, you do, but rarely does one team beat another 4 times.
We unfortunately have seen that a lot too up there. Between the Christmas tournament and the AML playoffs, and now even more so with St. Mary's in the AML, you're going to see this all the time.
But I mean, I think that girls' game got overshadowed by the boys' game afterward. That girls' game was a really good game. It was back and forth. Sammy Straub hit a go-ahead 3 with about 3.5 minutes to go, and Elk was able to hold off St. Mary's. So exactly, I think if each coach would tell you exactly the kind of game, win or lose, they would want to have going into the postseason.
Hey, fight me when I say that Sammy Straub is the best player on that team.
Oh, she's really good. I mean, she is clutch. 8 of her 15 points in the fourth quarter, man, she was really good down the stretch of that game.
And then Jared, like he said, Jared and I were at the KSAC games. One good game, one game.
Right.
That about sum it up, right, Jared?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think there was a brief, tiny bit of hope that I thought that Montauk was going to go on a little bit of a run, but then that kind of quickly got erased in the span of minutes after all the turnovers they had, missed free throws, just didn't really work out for Montauk, unfortunately.
That CL Karn City game was great, though. CL had the lead at halftime. Karn City took it in the third quarter. CL came back. I think it was a 12-2 run, went up 5. Karn City came back. They go up. And then Alex Painter. What more can you say for a kid that 7 games ago was averaging 5.9 points a game and just basically exploded since then? Just before Jace Ferguson got hurt, and then since then. Those are the stories you love to tell.
The stories you love to tell, you love to see kids stepping up in big moments, and that sounds like exactly what happened there.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome game. I wasn't even sure who was going to win there for the last couple minutes. Like you said, there was runs all over the place. Like CL was up for a while, then Karn City came back and got a run. Like it was just a game full of runs in that, from what I saw.
Yeah, and that was and then that second game. I mean, you thought maybe Montauk could stick with them. I mean, the first time they did. The first time back in December, it was a 2-point game. Even the game a week ago that Jess Quinn and I broadcast was a close game that that really Montauk just turned the ball over too many times with 2 for 15 from the free throw line and only lost by 15. But last night, if you don't shoot well against Red Bank, you're not going to win. And they were 3 of 18 in that first half.
Yeah, that's not going to win you a lot of games.
No, it's not. And Red Bank, I mean, holy cow, their JV team would probably be a District 9 playoff team. And that, I know sometimes people are like, oh, that's hyperbole, but that really isn't hyperbole with that JV team. That JV team went unbeaten and pretty much steamrolled everybody they played. And a lot of those players also saw varsity minutes helping the varsity team to the 1-loss season. So, I mean, they are loaded top to bottom. Unfortunately for them, and we'll get into this a little bit later, unfortunately for them, they're in AA, and so is Kennedy Catholic. And I'm not sure that they match up well at the state level with Kennedy Catholic.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see with that. But how about Izzy Bond putting on that handling clinic there at the end of the fourth quarter?
You mean Addie Bond?
Was it? Oh, Addie, my bad. Addie's the fresh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, those of us who've watched them a couple times this year know she can do that. She can do that. Miley Carmen can do that. They're stacked. There's no other ways around it. I mean, there's a reason they have the record they have. There's a reason that most of their games haven't been close. It's because they have the most talent.
Yeah, definitely a real fun team to watch. Next thing I have is recapping the regular season. So D9 between the lines. I know we haven't really gotten to you at all, but how'd you enjoy the regular season?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. There was really like 4 or 5 teams that could have been, called the best team in the league, or the district. I mean, that's like your Otto Eldred, your Brookville, and then you got ECC and CL. But unfortunately, 2 of those teams, they suffered really big injuries. Jordan Wasco and then Jace Ferguson too. But yeah, I enjoyed the season so far.
Yeah, were there any big surprises or disappointments that you saw this regular season?
I mean, my big surprise was probably Otto's boys team. I don't know. They jumped out. Let me see if I have the number here. 22-1, obviously, but they didn't even make the district playoffs last year.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
They
did?
finished third in Class A year ago.
Oh,
They lost to DCC in the I want to say it was DCC they lost to in the semifinals a year ago.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just wanted to make sure you were on the right path there.
Yeah.
What about you? Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just gonna say that was my biggest surprise there.
Okay. Any disappointments?
My disappointment was probably, I mean, not necessarily for the team that they have, but Red Bank kind of falling off from the season they had last year to the season they have this year. I mean, it wasn't unexpected. Their talent obviously dropped significantly, but just not the greatest record this year.
Jared, I think that CL was a big surprise. Not so much that they were good. I mean, they're good all the time, but 22-2. Andy, I don't know, going into the season, did you see that coming?
Not at all. Not at all. And again, I thought they'd be solid, but 22-2 is a lot better than solid. 22, that's really, really good.
I wasn't sure where Karn City was going to be either when they lost Luke Kramer to the football injury. Like that could have gone. I mean, you knew they still had Micah Rupp. You knew they still had Tate Bailey, but were they going to find anybody else who could score? I think Shane Peters, nice big 6'5" sophomore, really stepped up this year and helped. And it's funny. I get what Between the Lines is saying there about Red Bank, and I think they started out and you were really disappointed with how they started. I think it was like 2-6, 2-7 or whatever. Yeah. And then they figured it out and they really turned things around. And that should be a really good game between them and Ridgeway. It's a rematch of last year's District 9 title game in AA that Ridgeway won. In most cases, you'd say, well, Ridgeway's going to play the style he played last night, right, Andy? And that's going to hurt Red Bank because Red Bank likes to get up and down the court. But that's not the case anymore. They played a game against Clarion this year where in the fourth quarter, Jess Quinn and I are doing that broadcast, and I go, my gosh, they look like Ridgeway right now. The way that they were, they would have maybe an okay look at the basket, but they were more concerned about killing the clock than they were about scoring the point. And so I think that they are much more built to play Ridgeway's style of game. And so if that game gets into the 20s and 30s, I don't think Red Bank's going to panic like maybe they did a year ago. I think they're much better built for that. A couple of surprises, and I don't know how big of a surprise they are, and they're both playoff teams, but Union hovering around 500, Johnsonburg at 500. Kind of thought both of those teams might be a little better. I thought, I knew that North Clarion had lost, a couple of really key players from a year ago. They still had Aiden Hartle, who's one of the best players in District 9. Thought they might at least be able to sneak into the playoffs. But, man, when you don't hire a coach until, like, a week and a half before the season, it really sets you back, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, there's no question. I saw that North Clarion team, and Aiden Hartle's a terrific player, and kind of disappointing in a way. But again, to your point, Chris, that's tough for an incoming coach on that short notice. That's tough for kids on that short notice to no matter how much chemistry you think you have or think you may have. That uncertainty because the coach has to come in and bring his own system, right? And that takes time. That doesn't happen over a day or 2 days or even a week or a couple weeks. That takes time. And so I think that put North Clarion behind the 8 ball a little bit.
Flipping the script, D9 between the lines down there. You talked about your surprises, your disappointments on the boys' side. What about on the girls' side?
Here, I wrote them down earlier. Let me just double check here. Can't find it now.
Well, while you're looking, I think Andy and I can kind of give ours.
Sure.
I think a big surprise, the Port Allegheny girls. I didn't see them being 19-3, Andy. Did you?
No, I didn't either. And it's good coaching. That's good. I mean, they have good athletes. Stauffer is a really nice player, obviously, but beyond her, I wasn't really sure what they had. And outside of Otto Eldred, the North Tier League, they handled their business in that league, and they were really good. They were really solid. And were they going to be a playoff team? Maybe, but I didn't expect the record they had. That's for sure. And that's I would definitely put them as one of my biggest surprises on the good side among girls teams.
Yeah, and then, a little bit of a disappointment on the girls' side to me. And I get that there was a serious injury in volleyball season I would say it would have been a disappointment going into the summer, but maybe not going into the season. CL. Thought CL would be better than 9-13 this year, but losing Kendall Dunn had a much bigger impact than even I anticipated it to have. I thought losing her would make them go from like maybe a 15-16 win team to a 12-win team.
Mm-hmm.
But instead they ended up as a 9-win team. Really thought maybe they could be a little bit better than that. Also thought that maybe Johnsonburg would be a little bit better than where they finished at 6-16. But new coach, first year coach, not a program that had done a lot the last few years. So maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise to me.
Did you find your paper, D9? Between
Yeah, I found it. So the one that I had was the Port one. Yeah, I didn't. That was a big jump from last year. I think it was a 7-win jump is what I had written down. But I didn't really have any real disappointments overall. I guess it was just kind of disappointing to see how North Clarion ended their year with 3 losses to some of the better teams. So I don't. That's my only real disappointing ending. I didn't really have any big disappointments.
Yeah, and there's kind of the elephant in the room there with North Clarion too, with Homan and the postseason eligibility thing. That obviously is going to have a huge impact.
Yep.
All right. How about some of the players of the regular season, boys and girls? I want you guys to all give an offensive player, a defensive player, and an MVP. Since I didn't really get to go to many games this year, I don't really have a good input on some of these players that you guys have all seen play throughout this season. So we'll go with we'll start with Andy, then we'll go Chris, and then D9 between the lines can finish it off.
All right, so I'm going to start with on the boys' side MVP, and again, I saw a lot of good players this year, but got to see Otto Ellard a few times, and Landon Francis is as good as the players we have in District 9. Just a sophomore, point guard, our rookie of the year last year, but just from a point guard, he gives you everything you want. He can score. You ask him to score, he can score. He's a kid that's got great range, great, terrific shooter, but he's also a pure point guard as well. He knows, it has had a feel for when to shoot it, when to distribute, and I was just so impressed with him every time I saw him this year, and to me, on the boys' side, he's as dynamic of a player as we have. Just really, really impressed, with him and the way he kind of runs the show there. A terrific offensive ball club. I'll defer that to Chris in between the lines.
Boy, on the boys' side, I have trouble, and I see we have a comment about this too. I have trouble going away from Clayton Cook. Just absolutely dominant at times, just completely dominant. From inside, I watched him at Franklin in the game against Franklin, going against Curry up there.
Curry,
he held every bit of his own in that game against one of the best players in Western Pennsylvania, arguably. He's the real deal. And from an MVP standpoint in the regular season, that's what sticks out to me. Of course, a lot of times, Jared, those awards are won in the postseason, though.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree with that one.
I have to agree with you on Clayton Cook. He was my MVP pick too. He's so dominant on the boards is his biggest thing, and his post moves, like his post control, is probably his best attribute.
Looking at a player, you talk about a surprise player, and this is a name that probably not a lot of people have ever heard of. I know I hadn't going into the year. They almost didn't have a team, Venango Catholic, and they didn't play a league schedule, and they played some non-PIAA schools, and they played some PIAA schools. But really surprised at a kid like James Henry at 21.7 points a game. Now, would he score 21.7 on somebody like, CL? Probably not, but, that's still like you were asking about a surprise, somebody maybe you hadn't thought about going into the year. And that's definitely a kid I hadn't really given much thought about at all, to be honest with you. And to see what he did and what he did for that team. And just the story behind that team was pretty special. And then Luke Swisher, I think at DCC, I think the question mark there was who was going to replace, why can't I think of his name now? The MVP last year, Andy.
Schrock.
Alex Schrock, yeah.
Yeah, who was going to, you knew Andrew Green could shoot, but you didn't know where some of the other stuff was going to come from. And I think Luke Swisher, what he's done for the Cardinals has been really impressive this year too.
Yeah, and before, sorry to interrupt, I see in our comments too, Jason Sloniger saying Cole Miller from Clearfield. How can we forget about him? Jared, I know you were there when he broke the scoring record there at Clearfield, and a terrific basketball player, a really tremendous shooter, and a kid that kind of does it all for that Clearfield club.
On the girl side, to me, the MVP right now is really, really easy. And all due respect to Katie Sheeler, but right now it's Miley Harmon, and it's really not even close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That Red Bank sophomore, she is the real deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that. I have got this. That was the second time I've gotten to see Red Bank girls play this year, and it's no doubt she's probably the best player that we have in D9 right now, girls wise.
Yeah. And Chris, your point is well taken. Miley Harmon for sure. Katie Sheeler's a terrific player. Chloe Presloyd at Punxsutawney. Got to see them a few weeks ago. They actually picked up a game. They went to Erie to play Cathedral Prep. And Cathedral Prep, formerly Villa Maria, it's all one school now. They haven't lost a game to a District 10 opponent since Warren beat them 5 years ago. And Punxsutawney in the fourth quarter of that game, that was a 6 or 7 point game until Prep pulled away late. And that was, a lot of that was some at the Gribble as well. But Chloe Presley was phenomenal in that game, and that team in general. They're talking to an opposing coach. They're so tough to scout and so tough to prepare for. And I think it starts with Chloe Presloyd, and I think I think we certainly have to mention her as one of the best players in District 9 as well.
Oh, there's no question. And, I was talking to Sean Rhodes, the Maplewood coach, last night. He was scouting Red Bank Montauk. And, they played Punxsutawney early in the season at that tournament in Warren. And what he said about them was they just know where to be on the court at all times. And that's what makes that team so good. That's what I saw. What did you see between the lines?
Yeah, Harmon was really my pick too. It's kind of crazy that she's almost through 1,000 points through 2 years. She's at I think well over 800 right now. But yeah, there wasn't really much competition. Obviously, Katie Sheeler too. I thought about her, but Harmon's really been my pick since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, definitely hard to go against Harmon, Presley, Sheeler. That's probably your big top gunners there in the D9 girls side. How about the next one we have is Game of the Year? I know you guys have been to way more games than I have. So, Andy, what's been your Game of the Year so far?
Oh boy, on the boys' side, and this is a little recency bias. I get it. But the Ridgeway Elk County Catholic AML title game I got to cover last night was just it was one of those games where it was exactly what you would thought it would be, and it still lived up to the billing. I get it. People love to see offense. I get it. I do too. But there was just something about the intensity of that game, and something I want to touch on too. And Chris, you and I were at the game when Jordan Wasco from Elk County Catholic went down to that injury. And one of the things both Will Wortman and Coach Aaron Straub said to me after that game was, hey, we kind of had to learn how to play without him. And that's not an easy thing to do, especially late in the season where you're used to playing a certain way. And all of a sudden, you lose your leading scorer and you kind of have to adjust on the fly. And to be able to adjust the way they haven't lost since then. And that's including last night against, a Ridgeway team that's really tough. Especially, everyone knows the style Ridgeway plays. They're up, they're in your face. It's going to be low scoring, defensive. And, to be able to win a game like that, I think should give them a lot of confidence going into the postseason. But as far as games of the year, on the boys' side, at least, that is on my short list.
The girls' game of the year, Otto Eldred Red Bank Valley.
Sure.
Hands down. That game was phenomenal. That game was everything you could want. It had scoring. It had runs. It had atmosphere. It was as good to be at the end of the day. And it was as good as anything. That's and then I think you have to look. I don't know, on the boys' side. I think that you weren't there, Jared. I thought the CL Union game in the KSAC semifinals was really pretty dang good. It looked like CL was going to blow them out of the water in the first half. Union comes back, takes a 3-point lead with a minute to go. You think, wow, they're going to knock off CL, and then CL and Jack Callan thought he was one of his older brothers, looking maybe like Ian, and just took over the game late.
Yeah, my picks were probably one that kind of got overlooked because of some injury troubles. I really liked that first ECC Brookville game where ECC won by 3. Really close game, 50-47 at the end. But then what you said about the Red Bank Auto Elgin for the girls, yeah, it was just a great game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no arguments for me there. I'll again go to the game I had the privilege to cover was the Punxsutawney Cathedral Prep game. That ended up, the final score ended up not being that close. But just an inter-district battle of two teams of that caliber. And I think Prep got a little more than they bargained for in that game. Not that they weren't prepared, they were. But I think that game was less about how good Prep was and more people realizing how good Punxsutawney was. On an inter-district and state level. I think they really, even though they lost that game, I think they really, proved themselves as an elite team in that game.
Yeah, I like all those games. Like I said, I haven't been to as many games this year, but for sure, I definitely would put the Red Bank Auto Elder girls game up there that I was lucky enough to attend. And Chris kind of pointed out there was atmosphere, there was runs, there was scoring, and we didn't even know who was going to win up until that last 12 seconds that happened there. So that was probably the best girls game I've seen in a while. And on the boys' side, I'd probably have to say that Karn City CL game I saw last night was probably the best boys' game I've seen all year.
Chris, Jared, were either of you at the, and this is obviously going back a ways, but I remember Chris, you saying, people in Brookville saying, the Brookville Warren boys game at the tip-off tournament. Were either of you happen to be at that game?
Yeah, I was at that game.
Okay.
I'm not remembering why that would have been something. I mean, the score wasn't really all that close at the end of the day, was it?
No, but Chris, I think I remember you saying something that the people in Brookville saying that might be one of the games of the year. I mean, obviously it ended up turning out being that way, but I think that was a good measuring stick for Brookville early in the season.
I think we just lost Andy. He just froze on us, Jared.
Yeah, that seems to be the story of him every time we
Every time we get him on, he's like frozen in time. It's like John Wayne getting frozen, something like that.
Yeah.
One of these days he might rejoin us.
Yeah, but yeah, I do remember like a lot of people were saying that was going to be a good game, but what I remember, it was not really a good game.
No, it didn't really turn out to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andy's back.
Well, there I am.
Andy,
Sorry.
Andy, you really need to do something about that internet up in Warren, man.
I'll do what I can.
All right, so the last thing before we kind of dive into the actual playoffs, do you think you guys could give your top 10 rankings for boys and girls?
Boy, Jerry, you're really putting us on the spot there, aren't you?
We're gonna stir the pot since I decided to do it. Or I mean, D9 between the lines started it, and then I'm like, I might as well just join in the fun and see what kind of controversy I can stir up. So we've been doing ours. So I think it's your turn. I think it's your guys' turn now.
If you're gonna make me do a D9 list, I'm gonna go Punxsy 1, Red Bank 2. This is on the girls' side. Punxsy 1, Red Bank 2, Auto 3, Elk 4, St. Mary's 5, Montauk 6, DCC 7, Port Allegany 8, North Clarion 9, Karn City 10. I mean, that's literally off the top of my head.
I mean, that's hard for me to argue. Again, I'd go Punxsy 1, Red Bank 2, Auto 3, Elk 4, Montauk 5, and then after that, probably 6 through 10, probably in some form or fashion, what Chris said.
And then on the boys side, on the boys' side, I think I go Auto. Brookville 1, Auto 2, Clearfield 3, Elk 4, CL 5, Karn City 6. Ridgeway 7, Central 8, Cameron 9, Port 10.
Sounds about right there. What about you, D9 between the lines?
Yeah, I have a similar one. I have Brookville 1, Otto 2, then I have ECC 3, then I have Clearfield, CL. I've DCC 6, Ridgeway 7, or not, sorry, I had Garden City 6, DCC 7, Ridgeway 8, Clarion 9, and then Cameron 10.
Yeah, again, I think my rankings would mirror between the lines and Chris's. I might, I don't know. To me, it's real close at the top. I might flip flop Otto and Brookfield at the top, but other than that, I don't have a lot of.
Andy, I'm gonna tell you this having watched both of them. Okay, Otto could not handle Brookfield's physicality.
Well,
In a full out no, because what I saw at the end of the DCC Auto game was DCC physicality bothered Auto. When DCC finally got out of foul trouble, like where they didn't have to worry about it as much, their physicality bothered Auto in the fourth quarter, and it bothered them a lot. I mean, to the extent where a game went from being a blowout to being a fairly close game again, because DCC just their physicality just bothered Auto. I don't think that the Northern Tier League prepares a team for that kind of physicality.
no, and they'll be the first to admit that. But I think that's why they tried to and again talking to Coach Francis, challenge themselves outside that in the summer league and in the IBO and I just like their guard play. I think their guard play is really good. And I love Brookville as well. Just different styles of how they get things done.
There's just they don't as good of athletes as they have too. I just don't think they have an athlete like Jack Pete. I don't think they have anybody who can do what Jack Pete can do.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, I guess I might as well give my rankings that I have, which is also based off a bunch of teams I haven't even seen play this
you put
year.
us on the spot.
So I'll go on the spot here. So based off the rankings systems that I've been doing recently, for the boys side, I'll go Brookville, Otto Eldred, Elk County, Clarion Limestone, Clearfield, Karn City. Where was I at? I think that was 6, right? Is that 5 or 6?
Mm-hmm.
I should have done it by number actually. Number 1, Brookville. Number 2, Otto Eldred. Number 3, Elk County. Number 4, Clarion Limestone. Number 5, Clearfield. Number 6, Karn City. Number 7, Ridgeway. Number 8, DuBois Central. Number 9. I never did. I guess I only go through 8, but I'll go with number 9. We'll throw in Cameron County, and to round out the top 10, we'll go with Clarion.
I'm going to say this: Clarion's not been very good the second half of the season, and I think they are way overseeded. We'll get into that in a moment, but I thought that was the one seed where I just thought that like them being the 3 based on how they finished out the season, and then what happened to them in KSAC semifinals, they just got blown out of the water. Something's just not right with that team right now, and I don't know what it is, but there's just something that's not right with them right now.
Yeah, I guess just one more thing to close out this whole discussion. Any chance, and I'm not saying any of us are right or wrong, are we underselling Clearfield at all?
Well, I mean, I did have Clearfield at like 3rd. I had him right below Otto and Brookville. So I don't know how much, but I can't speak for the rest of you, but I'm not underselling Clearfield.
Yeah, I guess I should also do the girls too. So I'll go with Red Bank number 1, Punxsutawney 2, Elk County 3, Otto 4, Montauk 5, Port 6, North Clarion 7, St. Mary's 8, Coudersport 9, and Karn City will be my 10. It was a real tough debate between the Red Bank Punxsutawney, but since I've kind of seen Red Bank play twice, there's kind of some bias in there.
Sure.
Granted, I know you guys have seen some Punxsutawney games this year, and I'd really like to see some Punxsutawney games, but that was kind of my factor in on Red Bank Punxsutawney debate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can make a case for either one of them as number one.
Well, since we got through all that, do you want to go on a little commercial break, and then we will break down the District 9 boys and girls playoffs?
Yep.
For residential and commercial construction services you can trust, call Delta Contracting and Design Incorporated in Strattonville today at 814-764-5506. Or if it's concrete and excavating work you need done, then call Ace Concrete and Excavating at 814-764-5551. More on both Delta Contracting and Design and Ace Concrete and Excavating can be found at delcondesign.com. That's DELCON design.com.
Looking for affordable auto, home, and life insurance? Look no further than Allstate Insurance, the David Jones Agency in Clarion and Meadville. At the David Jones Agency, you get personalized attention from someone who lives where you do. The David Jones Agency meets you where you are. They are available during regular business hours Monday through Friday at their office, via appointment at the office after hours, or remotely. The David Jones Agency also offers investment opportunities, including annuities and IRAs. The David Jones Agency can be reached in Clarion at 814-223-4000 and in Meadville at 814-337-5107. Buying, selling, or building a home? Then call Burford & Henry Real Estate today at 814-227-7355. For more than 15 years, Burford & Henry Real Estate Realtors have been ready to help you in your next property search. They are also the #1 agency selling more homes in the region than anyone else. And with their Showcase Homes divisions, their expert consultants can help you with building the home of your dreams. Check out Burford & Henry online at burfordandhenry.com. Burford & Henry Real Estate Services, something different.
All right. Thank you to all our sponsors out there that sponsor the YDL Sports Network. I think what we'll do is we'll just go right down the article that Andy Close put together for us. You can find that on d9and10sports.com, and it's labeled District 9 announces 2023 basketball playoff seedings.
We'll put the link in the comments here for everybody, Jared.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Definitely check that out, everyone. So we'll start off with the 1A boys side. In the 1A boys side, we have the top seed, Elk County Catholic. Number 2, DuBois Central Catholic. Number 3, Clarion. Number 4, Johnsonburg. Number 5, Cameron County. Number 6, Union. Number 7, Keystone. And number 8, Smethport. Those games are going to be played on this Friday, upcoming Friday. Smethport's traveling to Elk County. Keystone's traveling to DuBois Central. Union's traveling to Clarion. And Cameron County is traveling to Johnsonburg. So, Andy, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the boys 1A seedings?
I think it's fairly fair, as we'll put it. I think Elk County Catholic, by virtue of their terrific regular season, is the 1 seed. And in my mind, despite the Jordan Wasco injury, is still the team to beat. Again, I don't think there are many teams, many programs that are built to kind of that can absorb losing their leading scorer late in the season and adapt the way that they have. But Elk County Catholic has done a tremendous job of that. DuBois Central, I think, has had a really good season and worthy of the number 2 seed. I'll kind of let Chris touch on Clarion a little bit, because he kind of mentioned that before the break about how something kind of seems a little off there. Cameron County, a potential dark horse as well, but I'll let Chris jump in and take that from there, especially when it comes to terms of, especially with Clarion.
Oh, I mean, it's been a bit of a weird season for the Bobcats. They let's see, it was like 4 or 5. They're like 6-1, 6-2, 7-2 when they lost on a last-second shot to Cameron County to go 7-3. Then they win 2 more after that. You're thinking, okay, everything's good, but they got into play specifically against the large school division in the KSAC. They lose to Red Bank. They lose to CL. They go over to DuBois Central and lose. They kind of sort of thought maybe they had gotten healthy, but it was against Forest Area, Keystone, who's been struggling a little bit right now, in AC Valley. Two of those teams just aren't any good. And then they go out in the KSAC game against Karn City, and they end up losing by 13. I thought that maybe Cameron beating them would get Cameron seated above them. But my understanding from talking to basketball chair Dave Osborne, Johnsonburg's win over Cameron County had a lot to do with Cameron dropping to that 5 spot. But at that point, if you were going to do that, maybe Johnsonburg should have been 3, Cameron 4, and Clarion 5. Or is too much emphasis being put on just one game in my thought process?
Yeah, it's hard. But when we're talking individual resumes, one game can kind of have a big impact, or 2 games can kind of have a big impact, especially when you're talking about 3 teams in Clarion, Johnsonburg, and Cameron. That kind of, I think, we could debate and discuss this, but I think all have pretty similar resumes.
Yeah, I mean, I have trouble getting over how easily Central beat Clarion in a game a couple Mondays ago. I'm having trouble getting over how Johnsonburg got boat raced at home by Clarion Limestone. And I know they were missing Jake Lowball, but still, I just, I have trouble with that too. I think Cameron's probably been the most consistent of those, but I think some sort of message was being sent. The North Tier League isn't very good, but I'm not really sure that the AML was what the AML's been in the past either. Johnsonburg and Ridgeway aren't the Johnsonburg and Ridgeway teams that makes deep state runs. I don't think that you would say that right now Ridgeway is a favorite to get one of the 3 state playoff berths. I'm not saying they can't get one, but I don't think it would be unfair to say they're not a favorite. And I don't particularly look at Johnsonburg as a 4 seed and necessarily think that they are an absolute lock, especially if they lose to especially if they would happen to lose to Cameron, that they're a lock to even come out of that Concy round, because you could be looking at a Union or a Clarion or a Keystone in that Concy round possibly as well, that would be a tough matchup. I mean, those teams are all evenly matched, and you could flip a coin on who's going to win some of those games. I don't think that's unfair to you, Andy.
No, I think that's totally fair. I don't think there's a lot of separation between any of those teams. And
I mean,
Yeah,
prior to the Wasco injury, I'd have been like, Elk's just going to roll to the title.
Mhm.
Now, do I believe that Central has enough that they could beat them? I do. I really do. I think that on any given day, without Wasco, heck, even with Wasco, Andy, you and I watched them against Brookfield when they had Wasco for all but 2 minutes of that game, score 16 points. They've got to play a really good basketball game in order to be at their best. So if they don't bring their A game before this, they could have not brought their A game and they would have still been okay. Now I feel like they've got to bring their A game if another team brings their A game if they're going to win that title.
Yeah, there's no question. There's less of a margin for error for Elk County Catholic. That's for sure.
I'm not saying they're not the favorite, because they still are the favorite.
No,
but
I agree.
I just think that they went from being a prohibitive favorite to there being the opportunity for, somebody to beat them. And, now do I think it happens until the championship game? No, I don't. I think that they couldn't have asked for a better side of the bracket. We talked about Clarion. I have a feeling, and I'm not going to sing because I'm not a very good singer, but boy, I've got a feeling Union's going to sneak up on them and beat them. The last time they played at Clarion High School on January 27th, it was 62-58 Clarion. The Golden Knights probably should have beaten CL the other day. I'm just gonna say I think if you're gonna get an upset, that's what that upset's gonna be.
Is that one of the bigger games you're looking forward to in this first round, you'd say?
In Class A,
Mhm.
I think I don't think Central loses to Keystone, but I think that anytime you're going up against a great coach team, and that's been a weird team. That's another team that started very slowly and then got better as the season went on, and then a rash of illness and injury kind of slowed them down. They've legitimately had their. I was looking at this here, and let me look at it again. They've had their starting five together just one time since this is crazy. Their starting five has been together just once since January 30th. And so if they can, and that was, there's minor ankle injury, there's some sickness going around to school, that sort of stuff. So if they're healthy on Thursday, DCC better come ready to play.
Yeah, that should be a pretty good matchup. Then moving on to the 2A boys side. Number 1, Otto Eldred. Number 2, CL. Number 3, Karn City. Number 4, Red Bank.
No, Ridgeway.
Ridgeway 4, Red Bank 5, Port Allegheny 6, Kane 7, 8, Kerwinsville. And the matchups are Kerwinsville at Otto, Red Bank at Ridgeway, Port at Karn City, and Kane at Clarion Limestone.
Yeah, and that Ridgeway Red Bank game's at St. Mary's High School because of the situation at Ridgeway where they had that water leak that unfortunately ruined their floor, and they're not able to play home games now. So kudos to St. Mary's High School for stepping up and giving those kids and those programs at Ridgeway a place to play. Where did Andy go?
Did he drop his camera?
I don't know what happened.
He's having all sorts of issues tonight.
Yeah, and we lost between the lines too. We were having some feedback there. It sounded like somebody typing, and he said he was going to see if he could get it fixed. He was going to come back, but he hasn't come back yet, Jared.
No, I think it's just us now.
I think it's going to be you and me carrying the show now. Uh-oh.
Well, I guess while Andy's not here, are there any surprises here with your 2A seedings?
Not really. I mean, CL Karn City could have gone either way. At the point in time where the seedings came out, Karn City was coming off an 18-point win over CL, but then CL beat them last night. So hard to argue that that seeding's wrong. So, it looks pretty fair to me. Red Bank Ridgeway is a 4-5 game, could go either way. I'd favor Ridgeway right now, but Red Bank's got a lot to play for. There's some emotional things going on there too. Their head coach Manny Marshall was in a pretty bad car accident, hasn't been on the bench. Thankfully, he seems like he's starting to get better and better and better every day. But they could be playing for Coach Marshall there, and that can sometimes swing something, Jerry.
Oh yeah, definitely seen that before in the past.
I think what's going to be more intriguing is you could be looking at another Karn City CL matchup. That'd be the fourth one. CL would go into it having won 2 out of the 3, but the last one, as you saw, was very close. The question becomes, can Jace Ferguson actually get cleared to play? There was some thought that was going to happen. Now there's some thought that might not happen. All kinds of things going on there. You just don't know what's going on with that situation. Andy talked at length about Otto Eldred. Otto and Ridgeway would be an interesting game if that would end up being the matchup because of the style contrast. It's just so different. Otto wants to get up and down the court. Ridgeway wants to play that game in the 30s. Who gets to dictate their tempo? Does Otto get the lead and force Ridgeway to have to speed things up? And then is that an advantage to Otto? Or does Ridgeway keep it in the 30s and then it becomes a 1 or 2 possession game at the end and give themselves a chance to win? That's the really big question mark with that game.
Yep, and I want to give a shout out to Kerwinsville for making the playoffs. That's like the first time we've made playoffs since like 2017, I think. I don't know if you can stat check me on that.
And it's an interesting Kerwinsville team because they were playing pretty good basketball, Jared, up until the end of January, and now they go into the playoffs having lost 7 in a row. So just a bit of an interesting situation as it looks like.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
Andy has rejoined us here. They finally figured out what internet looked like in Warren. I guess.
No, but to touch on your point, Chris, I heard you talking about the contrasting styles between Otto Eldred and Ridgeway. And to me, if that's a semifinal matchup, that is absolutely fascinating. Otto Eldred, as you said, loves to get up and down the court, got terrific guard play, loves to get out in transition, use their athleticism to their advantage. And Ridgeway, the coach may have changed this year, but the style's the same. They are intense. They are in your face. And, I truly think that in a potential matchup of those teams, they could dictate the tempo and have that game in the 30s.
And I know this mic isn't good. I'm gonna better mic back in. Go ahead on to 3A, Jared.
All right, and so in the 3A, all we have is 2 teams, and that is going to be the championship game that's going to be played on Tuesday at Penn West Clarion. Monotom Brookville, which will tip off at 7:30. What are you guys' thoughts on that game?
Go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead, Andy. You start.
No, I think, having seen Brookville, a few times, I think going into the season that they were the favorite in 3A, and nothing they've done to this point in the season has really changed my mind. I think that is the case. Clayton Cook, not just, as we've talked about, not just arguably the best big man in District 9, but the best player in District 9 in general. And they can beat you, I think, a number of different ways. If you want to play a slow down style, they can beat you that way. If you want to play an up-tempo style game in the 60s, they can beat you that way as well. So I think from that point, they're a really difficult team to prepare for, and I would definitely give them the edge in that matchup.
I think it's going to take a perfect game from Montauk. We talk a lot about some players. You talked about Waska. We talked about Ferguson. They lost their best player too, Chasen De La Rosa Rugg, in the game at Keystone to a knee injury, and they've tried to figure some things out. At times it's looked good, at other times it hasn't. But man, they're going to have to play a perfect game in order to win that game.
Yeah, there's no question.
All right, and then in 4A, we got 3 teams that are making it. Clearfield's the 1 seed, so they'll have the bye. And on Thursday, February 23rd, we'll have a game between Punxsutawney and St. Mary's that will be played at DuBois.
That'll be the third meeting between those teams, and Punxsutawney beat St. Mary's 58-54 here on February the 8th at St. Mary's. It was St. Mary's 38-30 at Punxsutawney on January 17th. So rubber match. What's interesting?
St. Mary's is kind of a funny team too. Within the span of a week, they took Elk County Catholic to overtime.
Yeah, Andy, I'm gonna hold. I know what you were gonna say there because I didn't realize this until I was doing stats today. Quinn Gavazzi did not play in the AML playoff game.
Well, that would have a lot to do with it then.
That would have a lot to do with it. That's why I was gonna stop you from your. I don't know if anything can be read into that because Gavazzi had 20 in the overtime loss and then doesn't play. Now the question is, and I don't know the answer to this: sick, hurt, what was he? If he was sick, then he'll be available for the Punxsy game. If not, if he was hurt, maybe he's not available. That changes everything again. What's really interesting in all this is we talk about Clearfield and we talk about where we think Clearfield's at and how good we think Clearfield is. And I realize it's way back on December the 9th Punxsutawney 47, Clearfield 42.
Yeah, so there's going to be, if that's a Punxsutawney Clearfield district title game, there's going to be no fear factor there.
And if you remember right, Punxsy played with Clearfield for a half in last year's championship. So if that's the matchup, I'd be a little nervous if I was Nate Glunt.
Could be fun. Could be a lot of fun.
It could be a lot of fun, but I'd be a little nervous if I was Clearfield. All the pressure's on Clearfield. They're the ones that have gone almost a decade of winning championships. I think that Punxsutawney would be in a bet, would be in a situation thinking, this is where we want it, baby. You know, I just, oh boy, I would. But you know, if it's St. Mary's in Clearfield, we don't know because they haven't matched up. We don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that Kerwinsville and Clearfield are playing over in District 6. And we have no idea what they're really like. It's so disappointing that you know, because there were so many great rivalries across the sports. Bradford, Clearfield in football, Clearfield Du Bois in basketball. And I know they played once this year, but man. You know, if you want to go play in District 6, go play in the District 6 playoffs. You know, come on back. Let's get some matchups. Let's see those games. I know Jared, when he was at Kerwinsville, they were at District 9. I know he doesn't like this.
Oh yeah, we got to play all the big dogs. We were in that AML, so we got swept by Ridgeway each year, Johnsonburg each year, Out County at least once a year.
So getting swept by Johnsonburg or getting swept by Juniata Valley, what's the difference?
It's just, I like playing the District 9 teams a lot better. I guess that's also some of the D9 bias that I have growing up with these schools. Really
Andy's frozen again.
It really limited me this year, me doing any Kerwinsville matchup graphics this year because I don't have anything on to any of those District 6 teams. And heck, it's even hard to like.
Come on back. That's all I gotta say. Just come on back. You're welcome back. Come on back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andy's still having some issues.
Can we draw on them? We have that capability in here. I don't think we have that capability, Jared. Oh no, he's gone again.
Yeah, so that's all. Oh, I guess we can talk about 5A. District 10 championship game will serve as the other semifinals for. They'll get the winner of Du Bois. Am I reading that right?
Well, yeah. What you're reading there is you'll have a District 10 game, and hold on a second here. That just got announced today. That 5A game in District 10. Pitt's Cathedral Prep against Meadville on the 23rd, which is Thursday at Mercyhurst University. And then Du Bois is supposedly playing a team out of the Pittsburgh City League. Last time I talked to the folks in District 9, the person in the District 8 chairwoman just won't get back to them. Isn't getting back to them. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insanity when you think about it. But so they're trying to figure out, like, will there be a team? Will there be a game? There should need to be a game, and not just in this classification. It's affecting the girls in 4A and when that championship game in District 9 can be played. I don't know. I mean, you know, they want to know, but you know, you gotta return a text, gotta return a phone call every once in a while.
Be kind of ideal, especially this time of the year. But
yes, it would. That's
why we're analysis and journalists and media people, not chairman of district playoffs.
Definitely not District 9's Dave Osborne's fault. He's been trying everything he knows. As of last night, maybe today he got lucky finally, but as of last night, he was still having trouble getting a hold of him.
So that kind of wraps up the boys' side. We'll keep going down the list. We'll go start off with the girls 1A. 5 teams advanced to the PIAA championships, and there are 9 teams that made it that's going to have a first round play-in game. So number 1, we have Otto Eldred. Number 2, Elk County. 3, North Clarion. 4, DuBois Central. 5, Port, Allegheny. 6, Ridgeway. 7, Clarion. And the 8 and 9 matchup will be played on Tuesday between Oswego Valley and Northern Potter.
Do you have a question, Jared?
No, I guess so. What are your guys' thoughts on? What's your guys' thoughts on
No,
this first round?
As I look at that shapes up. Otto Eldred and Elk County Catholic have been the 2 best teams in A all year, and North Clarion's a real close third, but the elephant in the room, there with the postseason eligibility is going to play a factor there for sure.
Elk and Otto played way back on December 9th. I don't know what it is about that date, by the way. December 9th. What is it? That's like the 3rd or 4th time we brought up a game on December 9th. I mean, that game on December 9th may as well have been on like December 7th, 1941 at this point, right?
Right.
Like, I don't even know what it means. Like, does it mean anything? 36-32 Otto at Otto. Teams were like 5 weeks into practice at that point in time, tops. Nobody's the same. No, nobody's even close to the same as they were then. So, intriguing matchup. Port Allegheny, DuBois Central, 5-4 again. I think if you're at Port, you're wondering, how are we 19-3 and we're the 5, and DCC's 12-10 and we're the 4?
Well, I'll tell you what, because DuBois Central went out and really played a very aggressive schedule this season.
Right. I like this part of it. I like the idea that the seating committee basically didn't punish a team for scheduling insanely. I mean, they started out. They started out. I mean, holy cow! I mean, they started out with the Shannick. They were only like 2-time defending state double-A champions. That's all.
That's it.
Nothing to see here, right?
Right.
Then they played Warren. What have they won, Andy? 3 or 4 in a row in District 10?
Three out of the last 4 District 10 titles, and Warren.
Then they played. Then they followed up playing Warren. Like 2 days later, they went and they played Punxsutawney.
If that's not aggressive, I don't know what is.
And then they had a game at St. Mary's. Then they followed that up with a game with Elk. They played Red Bank at Penn State DuBois. They not to be outdone, they played a West Shamokin team that took Karn City and Montauk down to the wire, like within the week before the DCC played them here last week, and they beat them like Punxsutawney beat them. So you're thinking, okay, this is a really, really good basketball team despite the record. And then they go up to Elk County Catholic and lose 45-23 in the AML semifinals. They were really close the first time they played them. Now, again, I hear there might have been some sickness going around the school, but, the facts are the facts. You lost 45-23. Now, I guess if you're going to plan on beating Elk, you may as well save it for when it really matters. And does it really matter in the AML playoffs?
No, but I think that game could be an indicator of what's to come. Not to say that if they meet again, it's going to be a 22-point game or whatever it was, but I do. By the way, I wish more teams would do what DuBois Central Catholic did, because I get it. Your record doesn't look that great, but I guarantee you they are as prepared. Not saying it's going to, be good, bad, or indifferent here in the postseason, but they will be as prepared as anyone this postseason because of the schedule that they played.
Now, if you're Port Allegheny and you're coming down to DuBois, and that's not a fun trip. From Port Allegheny,
long trip.
From Port Allegheny to DuBois. How much of a chip do you have on your shoulder?
Yeah, I mean there's no question they do, but Chris, to your point, I'm glad that DuBois Central did not get punished for what they did.
Oswego, great for Northern Potter. They get a home playoff game. I think that's pretty awesome. Doesn't happen all the time in Ulysses. They've beaten Oswego a couple times this year. Going to try to do it a third time. Great for Oswego. First time in the playoffs since 2011.
Wow.
2011. Jared, how old were you in 2011?
I was in 7th grade.
Oh, get out of
If that-
Jared from JB Graphics, folks, was in 7th grade the last time the Oswego Valley Green Wave made the girls' District 9 playoffs. 2011, you were 7th grade? You sure, Jared?
100% sure.
What year did you graduate high school, Jared?
2016.
Oh God.
Because the Kerwinsville's 2010 district championship football team was my 7th grade year.
Holy cow. Jared was just a little wee man in Kerwinsville.
No, I'm not even gonna touch that one.
Super young and watch reading your guys' stuff on the old school D9sports.com page.
But then the winner of that's got to go play Auto, and they didn't have any luck either of those two times. Clarion Elk, the only thing Clarion might have going for it is that Dave Constantino's brother Brad is an assistant coach at Punxsy, so they could at least try to use Punxsutawney's game plan against them. The major problem there is they don't have Chloe Presloyd or Avery Powell or Gribble, but they'll at least have the game plan. I mean, it's something. The game that I'm interested in is Ridgeway North Clarion. Don't be surprised if Ridgeway sneaks up and beats the She-Wolves. Again, Andy, you talked about it. No Lily Holman. It's only going to be the 4th time this year that they're going to play a game without her. I don't want to get into my thoughts. I could go on and on about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both could, but by and large, at the end of the day, this isn't rocket science. They're not as good a team without her as they are with her, and that's going to be an adjustment for sure. And that's going to be a very intriguing game, no question.
Jenna Kazmersky can play inside. She can play outside. Really nice player for the Elkers. North Clarion still's got enough that they could win that game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna go right ahead and hey, Ridgeway would have to come. It's gonna be a good game. But it wouldn't stun me if Ridgeway won that game. And set up another game with Elk County Catholic, because we can only have so many Elk County versus Elk County matchups. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And then it becomes a battle for that fifth spot, that 5th playoff spot. So I think that Auto, Elk, and the winner of the DCC Port Allegany game, are in good shape for those spots. Once it gets into that losers bracket and they're reseeding, and some of it's going to depend on what happens. I mean, it could be Northern, because they're going to reseed, which I love, by the way. I love that they're going to.
I love that too.
In the Concy bracket, because then you get Northern Potter, Oswego possibly against North Clarion, instead of North Clarion, if they would lose that game, so to speak, having to play, say, who would they have had to play, Andy, then? That would have been 6-3 would play 7-2. Instead of having to play Clarion again, they get a little bit of a better matchup in that one. And then because the object's to try to get your 5 best teams, right?
Yes, and to your point, what the reseeding does, it does that. It creates the best possible scenario to get the 5 best teams into the PIAA championships.
Is that for only the girls bracket they're doing the reseed for?
No, they're going to reseed.
Not
They're
boys
only,
as well.
only the Concy brackets, though.
Oh,
Jared.
the Concy. Okay.
Yeah, not the main bracket, just the Concy.
Right.
Oh, okay. Gotcha on that.
Yeah, just the Concy bracket, but boys and girls single A, where they got the 5 teams going. It's an interesting. It'll be interesting. like how all that shakes out. But now, where you want to be, if you want to win a state playoff game, be the number 3 seed out of District 9. They play the District 10 champion. And you're like, well, why would you want to play the District 10 champion, right, Andy?
Well,
The District 10 championship game is against who, Andy?
that is Jamestown and Commodore Perry, who I believe have a combined 6 wins. You know, when Kennedy Catholic bumped up to AA in District 10 this year, that just created a chasm there where there's just, I mean, it is what it is. You know, to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure District 10 should have a champion there in single A, but I digress.
Chris, we can't hear you. Chris.
Chris is muted, but
Hold on. How's this, guys?
oh, there he
Oh,
is.
that's better.
There he
I
is.
saw you
He's back.
talking, but
Well,
He's back.
there are people out there saying that's the best thing for them was me muted, you know. No, what I was gonna say was, you know, the Cambridge Springs and a couple other schools bumped up before Kennedy became AA because
Yeah.
again they make you do that and declare that before they move teams. Dumb system. I mean, holy cow! Like
Broken.
anybody with
Broken
rational
system.
thought process would look at how they do things and go, huh? But
Right.
you know, that's not here nor there at the end of the day. But it left a lot of so-so. I don't even know if you go as far as so-so. Probably the best team in single A in District 10 is Youngsville, and they said, nah, no thanks. Which was probably wise because I mean
Yep.
they lost to Forest Area. I mean, District 9's bottom rung teams are better than anybody District 10 has to offer.
Yeah, and again, that's just. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. That's just wasting everyone's time.
We are
It
just
is
wasting
what it
everybody's
is.
time. You know, I mean, Red Bank's JV team would win the District 10 championship.
Yeah, no question. No question.
I mean, by 30 or 40.
By yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's just as you said, it's a broken system, and hopefully
Somehow or other, because the system is completely broke here, the losers of the semifinals get to play maybe the most important game in all of the district because they're going to get themselves a state playoff win when they win that Concy game.
absolutely.
That could be mercy roll.
Could be. I fully expect it to be.
I mean, did Jamestown and Youngsville Jamestown and Commodore, did they beat anybody that wasn't themselves?
No. Nope.
Like they beat Rocky Grove and like
Rocky Grove didn't win a game all year.
I mean, my goodness, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a fail. There's no question. It's a fail.
Next,
move on
Next,
to
yeah.
moving on to
Moving on,
2A.
Jared.
Well, so you,
Yes,
you
the
kind of
2A.
brought up Red Bank Valley. Red Bank Valley is back down into 2A this year, and they have the number 1 spot in the girls' side. Montauk is number 2, Coudersport's number 3, and Keystone's 4. Those games will be played on Tuesday the 28th at neutral sites. Keystone versus Red Bank. Did they announce a location on that yet?
no, I haven't gotten a location on that yet, Jared. We're still waiting on that.
So we'll probably figure that out on the 27th, maybe.
Nah, I would
We can
imagine we'll hear that early this week.
Okay. And then Coudersport versus Montauk at Brockway. What's our thoughts on that? Are we going to see round 3 of Red Bank Montauk? Are we going to see
No, that'd be round 4. Round 4, Jared. Round 4. Get your rounds right.
round 4?
Yes.
Yeah, do you
I see no
Coudersport?
reason not to expect that.
Yeah, but man, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Like round 1 was really good. Round 2 was okay. Round 3, not so much. What's round 4 going to be like if we get there?
Blowout? Even more so? I don't know. I guess that's pretty much says everything there. 3A, Carton City Kane for the 3A championship game that is going to be played on Tuesday before the Brookville Montauk game. What's our thoughts on this game?
Huh?
Carson City, Kane, 3A.
Yeah, but you have the wrong date.
It's that says Tuesday, February 28th.
Yeah, this Tuesday's
Oh,
only
that's the following Tuesday.
Yeah, that's the following Tuesday, Jared.
Oh wow, I am way behind on that. I guess I forgot it was the 19th.
It's those red earphones. They've got them all messed up. Maybe the Fu Manchu stash them down.
Tuesday the 28th, we have a game between Kane and Carson City. What's our
According to
thoughts on
Goose
this game?
Gossage.
Goose Gossage. It's gonna date. Some of our viewers aren't gonna get that reference.
I'm pretty sure Goose Gossage up there didn't get that one.
I didn't. I don't get the reference.
Moving on. I view this as Carson City as a prohibitive favorite, but that's just me.
You gonna go against that, Chris? Or are you going with?
No, I'm not going against that. I think that's a fairly spot on assessment there.
I mean, I hate to oversimplify it, but that's just, I don't see. Yeah, I just see Carson City as just, the better team there.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right, and let's for all of those in the younger audience here, we're going to show them what Goose Gossage and what. We gotta,
Oh God.
So that's what we're getting at here. That's why we're calling them Goose Gossage.
I see it now. Mine's not as bushy though, but it'll get there at some point.
I understand the reference though now, right?
I do understand the reference. Learn something new tonight.
Hall of Fame relief pitcher, man. You gotta get back up on your on the knowledge there. So
I don't have as much baseball knowledge as you do, unfortunately, though. A little behind on that.
Well, I mean, after all, you were in 7th grade in 2011, so
let's just leave it at that.
In 4A action, Clearfield and St. Mary's. Clearfield and St. Mary's battle each other on February 23rd. That game will be played at DuBois High School with the winner playing Punxsutawney. Who do we have in that one?
I got St. Mary's in that one.
I got St. Mary's as well. Solid team. Well coached.
I'll agree with that. Then do we see any changes in the St. Mary's Punxsy game? Do we see St. Mary's taking it at all?
No.
Yeah,
that's not an indictment on St. Mary's at all.
Yeah.
That's not an indictment on St. Mary's at all. They're not a bad team by any means, but that speaks to just how good Punxsy is, in my opinion.
The question is, to me, and I'm looking it up as we speak here, but can Punxsy make any type of run at the state level at 4A? 9-1 goes into the bracket against 7-5. I think that's a game you can win, don't you, Andy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think Punxsy can win that game.
And then you play the winner of the 7-2, 10-3 game. And if you get past that game, now you're looking at like 5-1 or 6-1, 7-4, 10-1, or 7-6. And when you're looking over there, what are you looking at in District 10? Who's going to be the champion in 4A, Andy?
To me, there's separation in District 10. There's Fairview, Harbor Creek are the top two, and then Warren's probably 3, and then there's a fairly significant drop off. So you're probably 10-3 is probably going to be. My guess would be Warren, but there's a chance it could be Harbor Creek. And again, I think Punxsy would be. My opinion, Punxsy would be favored against either of those teams.
And if
If,
Punksy was
if,
playing
if,
like
if that's how it played out.
if Punksy was playing 10-1, you're looking at in that case, you're looking at what? You're looking at
Probably either Fairview or Harbor Creek would be my best guess. And again,
did
Fairview,
did either of those teams play Warren this year?
they did not actually.
So we don't have a matchup there to figure. But I guess what I'm getting at is it possible? Is it within theoretically possible for Punxsutawney, specifically if they can get past, like, say 7-2, to make a run towards the state semifinals?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no question in my opinion. They I don't think they fear anybody, and for good reason. This is a team, again, as I've talked to coaches, they're tough to prepare for. They're tough to scout.
Here is part of the problem. If the brackets hold chalk in the Whitfield, two would be North Catholic. North Catholic is let's see. North Catholic is generally a pretty good program. They're 19-3. They have losses twice to teams outside of a team from Delaware, a team from Virginia, and then they have a loss to Norwin, who's 6A.
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying Punxsutawney would be favored in those games. I probably wouldn't.
And here becomes the question. Here becomes the question. You saw the other team that's the top seed there, Blackhawk.
Yeah.
How good is Blackhawk? You've seen Blackhawk. You've seen Punxsutawney. How do they match up?
I think it's a fascinating matchup, to be honest with you. Blackhawk. Again, I think both of these teams have really good guard play. Blackhawk, they're not size-wise, they're fairly evenly matched. I think the Potts girl from Blackhawk might be an advantage just in terms of she's just a flat-out shooter. But Punxsutawney has that too. With the Gribbles and with Chloe Presloyd. So it's not a situation where it's a Whitfield team versus a District 9 team, and the Whitfield team has a distinctive physical advantage. I wouldn't say that by any means.
Blackhawk lost to Prep.
Kennedy Catholic. Yeah.
No, they also lost to Prep.
Right, yeah. And both close games.
Yeah,
that's not to say. I mean, Blackhawk's really good. But Punxsutawney's
really good.
This isn't your typical District 9 champion. Or if we put Punxsutawney in that position, this is a very, very good basketball team, and they. I promise you this. I'm not saying they would win a game like that, but they would not be intimidated by any means.
Andy, what happened with Prep against Harbor Creek on Monday?
Well, Jaden McBride was out for Prep, so that probably had something to do with it.
And Harbor Creek is what classification?
Harbor Creek's 4A.
Boy, I would think that would, and yet Fairview's the favorite. I mean,
I think it's a top. Fairview and Harbor Creek are the 1 and the 2, and they split during the regular season. Fairview won
by the way, Andy, that means you lied earlier in this program.
What did I say?
You said that Prep hadn't lost since losing to a District 10 team since losing 5 years ago to Warren, but they lost on Monday to Harbor Creek.
Oh, well, yeah. Detail. No. I digress. I apologize.
Unless you entered the score wrong in our league lineup.
Getting ahead of myself there, but yeah, Fairview and Harbor Creek split during the regular season. Fairview won the first meeting. Harbor Creek won the second meeting. So I think those two teams are pretty evenly matched as far as who potentially Punxsutawney could see.
All right. Last one we have Du Bois versus Cathedral.
Oh, by the way, Andy, you didn't lie. You just entered the score wrong.
I think, I was confused, and I confused myself, and that's my fault.
Listen, this is completely on you, by the way.
Yeah, well, I just said that. Yeah,
Andy.
Prep.
Andy enters our nightly scores.
I guess Prep. Yeah, Prep hasn't lost a game actually in 1 year. It's Prep Villa because they became the girls' program became Prep this year. They rolled into one
Yeah, well,
school.
and on top of that, Andy, they didn't lose.
yeah.
They didn't lose to Harbor Creek. They beat Harbor Creek. You just had the
Right.
score wrong. And
we've established that.
Well,
yeah,
we're
I mean
going to
they're
establish it a couple more times while we're at it. For confusing the living daylights out of me.
moving
I was
on.
like, wait a second, Harbor Creek beat Prep? What
Yeah.
happened? How did that happen? Like,
Yeah.
that didn't make no sense to me at all. We're fixing it as we speak, folks.
Come on, Andy.
Well, when he creates his own issues, I don't feel that sorry.
Jared, do you have a question somewhere in there?
Oh yeah, Du Bois versus Cathedral Prep in the 5A girls side.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's not much of a debate in my opinion. No offense to Du Bois. I think Prep rolls in that game.
Yeah, that's I mean, Du Bois played Punxsutawney twice and came up on the short end by scores of where are we at here? 55-33 and 50-19.
Yeah.
And Punxsy, as we know, ended up losing, even though it was close, they ended up losing by double digits to Prep.
Right.
Now maybe they could take a page out of Ridgeway's book and just hold the ball for 10
that
minutes.
might be their best option.
It probably is their best option, let's be honest.
Yeah, so that kind of wraps up all of our.
Hey, you know what? This John Swanson's 100% right, though. Nobody is out dressing Dave Bennett.
Facts. Straight facts, Swanee.
Well, you know what? There might be one person that might be able to outdress Dave Bennett, and that's Mike Jewett.
Okay.
Yeah, he had the driving cap on. Like, he didn't coach with the driving cap on, but he had the driving cap on when he was leaving Keystone. He might be able to outdress Dave Bennett. It's like nobody outpizzas the hot, nobody outdresses Dave Bennett. PizzaHut.com, by the way, one of our sponsors.
Shout out Pizza Hut.
Speaking of sponsors, Jared, let's take a break. Let's thank them again. We'll come back. We'll have more from. We'll wrap things up, I guess. Right? That's what we'll be doing. We'll be wrapping things up at that point. So let's thank some more of our sponsors here.
Hi, Chris Rossetti here from D9and10sports.com. I wanted to take a second to tell you about one of the best restaurants in all of Western Pennsylvania, the Allegheny Grill in Foxburg, PA. With indoor and outdoor dining, you can enjoy prime rib all weekend long, or perhaps it is their full wings served on Thursday wing nights that you're after. From celebrating a special occasion to hanging out with family and friends, the Allegheny Grill in Foxburg is the place to be. As they like to say, you come for the food and you stay for the view. Reserve your table today at AlleghenyGrill.com. Need plumbing, heating, or air conditioning services in Western PA? Then call Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning in Clarion today at 814-226-8695. At Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, we believe that a service-oriented business like ours should give you quality care and a quick response time. That's why we stand on our promise, offering you reliable 24-hour service that gets your job done right when you need it. We can also be found on the web at lutonsplumbing.com. Again, that number is 814-226-8695. Fran Morelli Sales and Service is a family-owned and operated used car dealership and auto repair facility that has been serving Brockway, Pennsylvania since 1976. At Fran Morelli Sales and Service, we stock a wide variety of used cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. You never have to worry about buying a vehicle from us, with each of our vehicles in our inventory going through a rigorous inspection process to make sure that your vehicle is in the best condition. Call our team of experts today at 814-265-1330 and check us out at franmorelli.com.
What's the recipe for surprising the kids, treating yourself, and ditching dish duty? You're looking at it. Order your Pizza Hut faves like Original Pan, Original Stuffed Crust, and more at PizzaHut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Are you hungry? Of course you're hungry. And Daddy's on Main Street in Clarion is ready to tackle that hunger for you. Serving amazing food since 2008, Daddy's has been Clarion's go-to stop whenever hunger strikes. Whether it's a good old-fashioned hot dog or hamburger, a salad, or something from their rotating chef's menu. Yes, I said rotating chef's menu. Daddy has you covered. You can order ahead by calling 814-223-4687 or come on in and dine in. Have a big event you are catering? Daddy's can do that too. Like Daddy's on Facebook at Daddy's Clarion and stop in today. You won't be disappointed.
All right. Speaking of sponsors, I actually did. I ate at the Allegheny Grill of Foxburg before I went up to Clarion on Saturday afternoon.
Oh,
What'd you have?
fantastic.
What'd you have?
I got the pepperoni balls, French onion soup, and I
Oh,
got
that's good stuff.
got the Angus burger.
Oh, yeah, good stuff.
Beautiful.
They catered the KSAG hospitality room. Oh man, chicken and beef and mashed potatoes and green beans. It was like 2 days worth of food. It was unbelievable. Check them out, folks. AlleghenyGrill.com. Dewey Irwin. Tell them we sent you. You get there, tell them we sent you, and ask for like a, I don't know, 1% off. No, I'm gonna work something out with Dewey like that. No, tell them that the YDL Sports Network sent you. You get like 5% off or something. Gotta work that out. I'll give Dewey. I'm gonna call Dewey right after. Like, Dewey, you think we have a great idea here?
It's a great idea. I mean, that was actually the first time I've ever eaten down there. I've never been able to make it out there, and finally made it out there.
Matt
Awesome.
Mahalik wants to know our thoughts on Double A, which we gave already, but I'm not sure, Matt, if you wanting Double A boys or girls. If you let us know real quick before we go, we'll recap that real quick here. But let us know if you want the boys or the girls there, Matt. And once you do, we'll tell you what our thoughts were real quick on it. Boys, yeah, okay. So boys, yeah, we did do that, and the boys, that would be the hey, that was where we thought that like a Ridgeway versus
Otto Eldred.
Yeah, Otto Eldred semifinal would be a really interesting matchup of styles. We really thought the Karn City CL, if they matched up in the semifinals, could be another really interesting game. So we're just going to give you the cliff notes there, Matt, since you missed it. But Matt, you can always go back and rewatch this whole show. It's archived on JB Graphics stuff. It's archived on the YDL Sports Network stuff. You can pick and choose where you want to go, what you want to see, all that sort of stuff. But we think that's going to be a really interesting bracket. Like we said, we like that matchup between Ridgeway and Otto and the contrasting styles. If Ridgeway gets past Red Bank, which I don't know if that's a given. And really like the idea of a Karn City CL rematch too. And tell you what, you get a CL Auto game in a final. My goodness, that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the 2A definitely has.
Points will not be hard to come by in that one.
No. It's not going to be like your game last night.
For sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the 2A has a lot of potential for a lot of really good matchups, especially, I mean, even the first round, second round, third round, the whole way through. I think that there's going to be a lot of games to see in the 2A side.
No question.
So
Jared, thanks. Yeah, Jared, thanks for putting this thing together. Hope everybody's had some fun tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on and doing like a little collab here with JB Graphics Download. As Chris said,
let people know where they can find your stuff at, Jared.
Oh, you can hold on. Where's my? You see the display names. You can find me at JB_graphics 2_. As Chris was saying, you can re-listen to the show on all of our socials, YouTube, and I will be uploading this episode onto Spotify and Apple Podcast for those who don't want to see our faces and just want to listen to it. They can listen to it that way.
Make sure you go and buy some of Jared's photos too. The boy needs to eat a little bit, so go buy. He's still a grown boy. I mean, after all, he graduated he was in 7th grade in 2011.
You're not going to let that one go.
Definitely check out the Smug Mug. I know Noah DeTulio's been taking some pictures. He's just uploaded. We just got him. He just sent me the North Clarion Monitas semifinals and the Red Bank Clarion KSAC semifinals, so there's some albums of that. My North rep, Allison Crow, she was at the AML games this past weekend, so she'll probably have some of those albums up. And with the announcement of Super Saturday returning, you can expect to see me there taking pictures for all 5 games that'll be played there, and possibly that Friday night I'm going to try to make it out there. So lots of JB Graphics photo content, graphic content, especially now with the playoff brackets being released. I'm going to try the best I can do to have every playoff game have a matchup graphic. Definitely check that out. You'll be able to see that on here. If you want to buy some cool merch like this JB Graphics hoodie, you can go to shopjbmerch.com.
Shouldn't Andy and I be getting like some of that stuff for free?
Stuff for free. You can even get a T-shirt that has JB Graphics and the Fu Manchu on it.
We're doing this wrong, Andy. We need to get something with like Andy's head on it and sell some T-shirts for D9 10 Sports, YDL Sports Network with Andy's mug on it. Drop us a line if you think we should get Andy. If you'd buy a T-shirt with Andy's mug on it, hashtag could be like Andy's fault or something like that.
I don't know where that came from.
Inside joke, folks. Inside joke. But maybe we should be doing that.
Poor Wi-Fi zone, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. Hashtag poor Wi-Fi. we gotta start a GoFundMe to upgrade Andy's Wi-Fi. So it doesn't freeze up on him all the time.
Well, that's all I got with my plugs.
We're gonna figure out, Jared, how to take calls next time.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
The Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
But to that point, definitely enjoy all your feedback in the comments section, and definitely appreciate everyone tuning in tonight.
Absolutely. And we'll have you covered as well as anybody on D9and10sports.com, the YDL Sports Network, for all your playoff action. We'll have a couple of broadcasts coming up, I think, and we'll also you get all kinds of written coverage and all that. I hear there's something called wrestling coming up this weekend too. Is that right?
That is correct.
Gary, you want to tip in to shoot wrestling for JB Graphics on Saturday?
Potentially. I haven't figured it. It really depends on the weather this weekend. There might be a race that I go to down in Lincoln Speedway, but we'll see how the weather is. You know how Pennsylvania weather is.
Who won the Daytona 500 today? Anybody know?
Joey Logano?
Let me see.
I think.
I did not watch.
Like Joey Close winning it?
Joey Close. Yeah, Joey Close did not win. I think,
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won.
Oh, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Okay.
I bet you Ricky Stenhouse Sr. was really excited.
I'm sure he was.
He's alive. I bet he's really excited.
I think that's like his 3rd ever win, so shout out to him for winning.
Yeah. Awesome. Good stuff.
Well, thanks for joining, guys. We'll sign off here, and like we said, you can find all of our stuff on our social medias, re-listen, rewatch, all that fancy stuff. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Andy. See you guys soon.
Yep. Talk to you guys soon.
Night, gentlemen.